Okay, so what I mentioned was here that I want to shoot this video about are small triads. We've been grabbing these big handfuls of chords, and you've been doing rather well with that. But I wanted to point out that if you're playing with another player, whether it's a bass player or even another guitar player, it's advantageous to use smaller chords. And so I wanted to work with some of these triads with you. So we'll make this attached to the C minor blues we've been working on. So first thing I want to show you is with your third finger at the 5th fret, playing the note C on the 3rd string, and then your second finger up a minor 3rd to the note E flat, which is on the 4th fret on the 2nd string, and then your index finger will play the note G at the 3rd fret on the 1st string. And so those three notes together comprise a C minor chord. In some ways it's like Guitar 101, but not in the way that we're going to use it. So here's the C minor I made reference to. So what we want to do is we want to spin the notes of that chord around so we have inversions of it, so that we have more tonality, or no, let me try that again. We have more range and different notes on top of the chord. So in its most basic form, here's C, E flat, and G. We're then going to spin that around to something that's even simpler to play than that, which is E flat, G, and C. The same notes, and that's just barring the last 3 strings on the 8th fret. So to put that together, you can hear how they're the same notes. Your ear will tell you that. Okay, but now I have a melody on top that goes G, C, G. So already I have something cool just by playing those 2 inversions. There's a really cool thing, right? So let's continue with the inversions. We're then, from there, we're going to go up to the fret 12 with our middle finger, playing the note G, up a 4th to the note C, which is at fret 13, and then your last note will be the E flat up top at fret 11. Okay? And again, those are the same notes. So if we listen, and again, in a clinical way, yeah, there's not much to it, but if I go, you can, okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? So let's go to F minor. Those same 3 inversions are available to you, except they're going to be in a different order. And why is that? Well, because I always like to start as far down on the neck as I can. Any material that I'm learning, I like to start, make sure I'm covering the whole neck, so I don't want to omit all this part. We could start those Fs the same way we started the Cs, like this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but why not do this? This is for the F, by the way. So it's the same 3 things we just learned, they're just in a different order. Let's do it again. So here's the F, here it is again, and here it is yet again. So if you want to compare it to the C, this was the second one we learned in C, this was the third one we learned in C, and this was the first one we learned in C. Okay? So now, if I put both of those things together and comp on this minor blues, and now we need to move on to the following chords. So we have A flat 7 and G7. The easiest way to show you this is we'll start out with A flat 7. That's your first one. So C, E flat, G flat. Yep, it's not too far of a stretch. A flat, on fret 4. Yeah, exactly. So there's your A flat 7, and so obviously if it's A flat 7 to G7, you can just go, just move it down a half step because the chord moves a half step. So, yeah. So now let me comp the whole thing and keep it really simple for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you recognize that. Okay, but that's a really easy way to do that. Let me go back to the A flat 7 and G7 because I want to give you more inversions for that. So to keep this as organized as possible, let's forget about the A flat 7 just for a minute, and let me give you the inversions of the G7. And A7 is a half step away, so whatever the G inversions are, you can move them up one fret and you have A flat 7, obviously. So let's go back to the first one. Here's the G7. So the notes B, D, and F. That's your lowest place on the neck. You're going to be able to grab that. So the notes we're looking for are B, D, and F. Here's D, F, and B. Okay, and then here's F, B, and D. And those are all the possible, if you're keeping it on on this set of strings, all the possible inversions for that 3-note chord. So here we go again. So if I want to go A7 to G, A flat 7 to G, couldn't I go? I threw a little passing chord. You know how that stuff works. I slid in. Even if I keep it more tonal than that. Just 3-note chords. You can sound very cool and very hip playing just that.